Do this, okay. I'm going to share the screen. Okay. Welcome everybody. This is the DVMUG meeting for September 29th, 2020. And I'll turn it over to Rick.
Hi, everybody. Welcome to DVMUG's weekly afternoon conflab. Good to see you all. And we've got more and more people joining all the time. I see, oh, we've got a bunch of people waiting in the waiting room to be admitted. So anyway, hello.
Nice picture, Tracy.
Dang.
Cracks me up every time I see the double image.
I'm going to share my screen here, and if I can find it, I lost it. I lost it. There we go. But now how do I? Here we go. Share the screen. Share. Okay. See, I got the splash too, John. So what's up this week? So there's news. Roku, as you guys all know, I'm a Roku fan. Roku announced today that yesterday that there's going to be an update to their operating system. And the main deficiency between the Roku and the Apple TV was that AirPlay was not available for Roku. AirPlay will now be available as soon as Roku OS 9.4 is released. Additionally, they talked about a new Ultra that's going to handle all of the latest audio schemes and the highest quality video schemes, and will come with some kind of a special HDMI cable that will enable all that. Plus, they announced a new stream bar, which is kind of fascinating because it's a Roku and a sound bar rolled into one that's expandable with some of their wireless speakers. So that may be a kind of an interesting thing. That stream bar, by the way, is only going to be $129. So that's kind of neat. So let's move on to questions and answers, if we can. I thought I'd put some graphics in there for us to entertain us. The first question we got was, is there a way to stop all the emails from vendors that I don't want to receive from? It's really good if you can give us details. And I think the guy who posted this question isn't on today. Dan, are you here?
This is a pretty simple question.
Yeah.
Yes, there is. You need to go into each email and unsubscribe. They're from vendors. He's getting emails from Amazon and Macy's or whatever, and he doesn't want to see them anymore. The only way that they know that you don't want them is to tell them. It's pretty simple.
Now, if they're weird ones, I'm not sure that I would tap the unsubscribe, because it may be one of those situations where they're just looking for real addresses. So you can also use set up a rule to just move emails from that particular source directly to trash.
That won't help. They'll just keep sending them. You need to tell them to stop. If they're real people,
if they're real, that's what my point is. If they're real, they will pay attention to unsubscribe.
Absolutely. And
if
he says they're vendors
and they're using a real address, you can set it up so that mail will automatically shoot that into the trash when it comes in the future. But you're right, John, if they're real, they'll stop. But a lot of these people are like spammers or like junk phone calls that you get. They don't use, they're not ethical. And so they don't pay attention to the unsubscribes. They just say, oh, there's a real address and we'll sell it. Okay, anyway, next question. Until recently, pages I have visited remain available. Now I'm told no recent pages viewed. Instead of being able to click and open the page itself, I have to go through my search history, select the page I want, and then open it. Did something change, or do I need to make an adjustment in my settings? I assume you're not talking about Safari or your browser. And
Google.
Pardon me?
We're not being recorded right now. If you want to sit here, it's safe.
Yes, we are. We're being recorded, Peter.
Yeah, we're recording. Whose question is this? Are they here? Apparently not.
Tracy's, it's on Google.
That's your question, Tracy?
Yes.
What browser are you using?
If I go through Google, it used to be the page would stay active in the history. Now it's like the page itself disappears and I have to go back through and select and
Okay,
then
so
open.
are you doing this on a Mac or an iPad?
iPad.
And you're using the Safari web browser?
Yes.
Okay. I just wanted to get that clear. I don't have the answer, but
Like I said, the physical page that you can see, you know, the image used to be available. Now I have to go back through and reselect the page and reopen the page.
I don't know I don't, you'd have to kind of show us. I mean, you're on an iPad, you're looking at a page and you want to go to a page you saw recently.
Yeah, well, I mean, I close out and I come back and it's not, you know, I can't just go to the image and select the image. I have to go back through my search history and completely reopen the page.
What do you mean by select the image?
Well, it used to be, I mean, for example,
You've had thumbnails of the pages?
Yeah, like favorites.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I mean, the webcam at a webcam page. I mean, it used to be you'd have a little thumbnail of the webcam page still up there, and you could click on it and reopen.
Okay, well, that's a feature. Those are used to be called. Okay, so I'm not sure what. I don't use the iPad. Anybody else do this on the Safari 14 on the Mac? Eliminated top sites. Maybe that's what's happened. Safari got
Okay.
So it's like a reading list or something, items. And yes, top sites went away on Mac OS. I'm poking at my iPad now, trying to recreate the behavior, but
Did you upgrade to iOS 14?
Yes.
Okay, that's probably it. Change the way the browser works. You'll have to.
And even before 14, that's what happened. It's like
Yeah, no, that's what happened.
three-
So it's a new
2 or
feature.
3
You're gonna have to
upgrades.
figure out how to recreate what you used to do with thumbnails. I'm sure there's a way.
Okay. Not a big deal, but just
There's
one more
iOS
step.
14. It's called something new, and it has favorites in there and other stuff. Maybe iOS has something similar. Google
well,
is your friend.
the way I handle it, Tracy, is I have favorites on my iPad that are separate because I tend to browse differently on my iPad. I use it for different things. So I don't sync Safari in the cloud. I keep it separate, tooled for, you know, the device. And I use favorites to create those icons.
Okay, thank you.
Rick, I think you're muted.
Rick's muted. Oh,
Yes.
he's sharing his screen.
Okay, can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yeah. Terry, Tracy, on the upper right corner of the browser on your iPad, you'll see three symbols. One of them is a square within a square, and then a plus to the left of that, and then a little square with an arrow pointing up. If you click the arrow pointing up, you'll see a list that comes up and drops down. And you can then select that page to be added to your reading list. And once you've got that added to your reading list, that will remain there until you delete it.
Okay.
That, I believe that should solve your problem.
There's something I do differently. I always make folders and put everything in folders, and then I go to the folder and open up what I want every time. And I
On
save
the
it.
iPad?
I save it in my Safari settings, so it goes cross-platform. It goes to my phone, my iPad, and
Okay.
my computer.
Okay, so there's several solutions for you. The next question was, I want to label a photo of a person wearing a mask. Is there a way? I think the only thing you could do is to put a caption on that photo, because facial recognition isn't going to work. Anybody else who's
It used to be that you could tell it, or maybe it wasn't in photos, maybe it was before photos. You could tell that this is, you know, say this is a person and you want to label it.
Yes.
Yeah, you used to be
And it
able to
still
do
does.
this.
It still does,
Does?
but it won't
Oh.
do that with a mask. It won't be able to determine that Sally Sue with a mask and without a mask is the same person.
Oh,
Unless
I
you
don't
say
care.
so.
I don't care if I have to label them all. I don't want it to do it automatically. But I would like to be able to find a picture of somebody that I took who has a mask on, and I'd like to be able to search by their name.
Well, you could
But,
do it with a caption as well.
Well, yeah, I guess that's what I have to do.
Yeah. Okay. Next question was, what are recovered messages? I had 4 mailboxes with thousands of messages from 2015 to 2020. Putting the 15 to 20 sounds like we're old timers. There was one of my Mac.com addresses, all messages from me to someone else. There was one of an email list I'm on in Mac.com. The other 2 were Gmail addresses. So these are recovered messages. How did you come by those? Did you rebuild your mailbox or something, or?
I must have done something major.
Have you
some
ever
kind of-
tried to recover mail with Time Machine?
I don't think so.
Because that's what it does. Also, if it crashes or something, you'll see it does that. It can't, mail crashes or you force quit it, you'll see these mailboxes pop up where it recovers the messages. You can move them out of there if they're real messages into wherever you want.
Or can
Well,
you delete them, John?
Well, you can delete them if you don't want them. Delete the entire mailbox if you don't want any of them.
Yeah, I've done a lot of that, a few thousand. But I
You
just
can
wondered.
just hit Command A to get all 1,000 of them and then
Yeah,
delete them in
I
one
know.
swoop.
I wanted just the oldest ones. I'm always afraid to delete things that I might want.
Save the ones you want and the ones you don't delete.
Yeah.
This is pretty common. You see this. Usually they don't have that many messages in them. Usually there's a few in there.
But my worry is I have thousands, I don't know, hundreds of mailboxes that I sort mail into on my Mac. And I
Hundreds
sure
of
would
mailboxes?
probably. I mean, you
Oh,
can't, Apple doesn't let you label or change the title of messages. So how are you going to find them again unless you remember the
The
title?
find command. The find command.
but
You can search by
Yeah, but what do you
sender or
search on if you
search
don't
on this-
remember?
I don't know.
I can't remember.
Yeah, John, let her finish the question.
What?
Go
You
ahead,
use Gmail?
Janet. Finish the
Go ahead.
question, Janet.
Oh, well, I certainly can't remember enough about messages from a year ago that I could necessarily find them with a search. So it's really nice to have them organized from a certain person or about a certain thing.
Well, if they're a certain person, you can search by their name.
Oh, yeah, okay, I shouldn't have said that. Okay, but by
Yeah.
Or subject, you can search by subject.
something that has to do with the folk dance group, something that has to do with something else.
You can search by the body of the message.
I know that. But if I
Okay, so
Yeah.
is this mostly Gmail or something else?
mostly Gmail, but also .Mac.
Yeah, but you
Okay.
get it all in the Apple Mail, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so you could create archives, although I don't do that. Once I read an email, I delete it. I don't save them. But you could
So-
create archives.
The best way to
Good.
search for Gmail stuff is on the web. It was built for the web. You go to the web, Google, log into your Gmail on the web. It's already pre-indexed with Google search. So you just type what you're looking for and boom, it's just there instantly.
If
It's
I
the-
knew what I was looking for, that would be fine.
Well,
So anyway, they're whatever.
sounds like your mail looks like my guest room.
But back when I was when I used Entourage years ago, it would let you retitle a message. So you could have categories, labels that you could search for. Apple doesn't let you have labels.
Yeah, I can't help you with because I don't
Yeah.
use mail that way.
Okay. Well, you have better memory than I do, but
Okay. Apple
Whatever.
has something, Apple has something called a flag with colors and you can flag it.
Oh,
by
yes,
color.
I use those.
Yeah.
Yeah, like your folk dance group could be green.
Yeah, but they're
And-
only about 8 colors.
Right.
And
Yeah.
that's,
Not enough, huh?
no.
She must have been the homecoming queen. Popular girl. Well, okay.
Never mind.
Jennifer, you got your hand up. Oh, moving a light. Okay. Do we have any other questions before we move to the next subject still under questions and answers? No?
Yes,
Okay.
I do.
Okay.
This is Lloyd. Notice on what's the problem with the latest security update? I see there's comments in there.
Oh, that was for the old system for Mojave.
I
Okay.
got an answer for that because it happened to me 3 times. So if you install the latest security update, if you install the Safari 14 before you do that, you'll have all kinds of problems. Lots of stuff won't work, memory issues, all kinds of stuff. So the answer is if that happens to you, you will know, because the 2 things that happened to me on 3 machines exactly were you couldn't make a new user and you couldn't run migration assistant. So you can try those things. If they work, you don't have the problem. If they don't work, you got the problem.
John, when you, after you did that using install the new OS on top of the old one, were you able to create a new user? Because I wasn't.
Yep.
That's interesting. I'll have to try.
I tried the 2 broken things on every step of the way. I did reinstalled Mojave, then I did the 04 security update, and then I did the 05 security update, and then I did Safari. The thing that breaks it is Safari in the wrong order. If you put Safari before the 05 update, that's what breaks it.
Well, I got to go back to last Wednesday and do it over again.
I did it 3 times on 3 separate machines. They all had the same problem, and it worked every time. So
I was just wondering because I don't seem to have any problems. But,
you won't notice typically, I mean, there's a whole list of things there's a link on the BBS that goes and explains all the things you could possibly have wrong. Slowness, memory, all kinds of these issues. 2 that you can actually try, make a new user. If you can make a new user, you don't have the problem. If you can't, then go and read the fix. Also, I found out because I was trying to migrate somebody's computer and I couldn't get it to run last week. And what I ended up doing was cloning it because I couldn't get Migration Assistant to run. And that's why I found out after the fact.
There seems to be no word from Apple yet on a fix.
And they're not fixing it. The 05 security update is still on Apple's website. They're not going to fix it.
Yeah.
I don't understand, but I don't count on them fixing it.
John, I got a question. Did you have any problems reinstalling new system from the internet?
No, I already had the installer.
Oh, okay.
You can also just boot into recovery mode and do install. Reinstall the OS. That works too.
That does, but what I wanted to do was to do a fresh copy of the most current.
Yeah, download. I already had the installer, so that's why it worked. That's what I did.
I had a problem. Just couldn't do it. Couldn't get it from the internet. So
yeah, Apple sometimes doesn't make it easy.
Yeah.
Sometimes you can look for the combo update.
No, that won't do it.
No,
you need the fresh install.
Well, you want the whole new system,
You have
not
to have
just
the
the
whole
update.
installer.
Yeah.
I haven't been able to install a combo update on
No, that
top
won't
of
do
it
it.
for some of the security updates.
Yeah, this is why we miss having the clinic, because we always have that stuff available at the clinic.
So if you need it, you should be able to get it in the App Store under your recent purchases. It should be in there. If it is, you can just get it there.
I posted a link that explains.
Or you can.
how-
There are links you can go download it. Sometimes that don't work.
Yeah, I had luck with it. The link that I posted, scroll down, there's a link to download it. It worked twice.
On the explanation page, the guy has a really long, detailed thing. He has a link to, and all the different things. It's really detailed. He's the one that tested it and figured out what the problem was. Why Apple isn't doing something about it, I don't know.
I wanted to add the one thing here. I was just working on a Mac Mini, and it was a slowness issue.
That's one of the symptoms.
I found that there was something called Be Aware that was on there. It's supposedly
sounds like
virus
malware.
software of some kind.
Yeah.
And Shiny Mac or something like, just to put this out to people.
You're infected, dude.
I got it cleaned. I got it cleaned by
Malwarebytes. Did the Malwarebytes do it for you?
Malwarebytes did it, right?
All right.
God bless Malwarebytes.
That's right.
Everybody should
So
have it.
something about the way you're doing the web, you're getting malware.
Well, it's not me. It's the person I mean, the customer I was working with, but
somebody else's computer?
That's correct.
Oh, well, whatever they're doing is not good.
So there was always an answer. So he was an admin. Well, he's not that admin anymore. So that should stop him from doing that kind of stuff.
Maybe.
Well.
Are we done with this screen, or can we stop screen sharing or move to the
No,
next?
I have another page I want to show, but I don't want to move to it until we're done, until we've exhausted all the questions.
Okay.
How do you look that issue up on the VBS?
Ken posted, it's near the top of the folder in DVMUG. I forget what the name of it is. It's called
something like Problems with Mojave or something.
Something like that. Some about read this Mojave or something.
Yeah, read this now. That's it. Read this now.
If you are running Mojave, read this if you are running Mojave.
Okay, moving along. Moving along. Anybody else got any other questions before we move along? Yes, Bill.
I sent a message to you, Rick, in the chat.
I can't see it because I'm sharing screen, so I can't see that.
Okay, the question is, how do you delete images from old emails you want to keep in Apple Mail? I just want to keep the text, not the image.
I don't think
Hard to
there's a
find.
command to do that globally.
Yeah, I don't think.
One at a
I
time.
don't know.
What
Do
if you
that.
forward the email and delete the image?
Okay, so here's a way that you do it. I used to do this, or getting it down in size, is you got to sort mail. Do you use the iPad view where there's just 3 columns, or what OS are you using?
I'm on the latest, I have an iMac and I'm using Catalina.
All right. So Catalina, it's not, you can't go to classic view and sort by column. It's a problem. You got to sort by, you used to be able to, in the old days when you could put columns, you could sort by columns, sort by size, and it would show you attachments. You could select all the ones with attachments and then say remove attachments. And you could do it like globally. Not so easy to do in Catalina. They're going to fix that in Big Sur though. They're going back to allowing you to sort by columns.
And to remove images. Okay.
Yeah, there is a way in Mail, a command in the menu bar that says you select the message and it says something to the effect of, anybody know? It says remove images or something. Remove attachments.
If you want to forward it, if you want to
Under
forward,
messages at the bottom, it says remove attaches. So any message you have selected, even if there's a whole bunch of them, go to message, remove attachments, it'll strip out the attachments. The problem is selecting the ones you want to get all in one. The more you can get in one batch, the better.
I see it. Exactly what I was looking for. Thank you.
Yeah.
Good. Okay. Shall we move along, or is there anybody else with an unsatisfied need for information? Here we go. Forgive the last paragraph there, that's already been covered. But one of our members asked if it was possible to limit the Q&A to 30 minutes, followed by the presentation, and then if warranted, resumed afterwards. It happens that today we lived up to our former rule. In the past, when we had general meetings face-to-face, we limited Q&A from 6:30 to 7 at night for our general meetings, and then moved promptly at 7, or sometimes not so promptly, but a few minutes after 7 maybe, to the business at hand and then to the presentation. But of late, because Q&A is so popular, sometimes we've taken nearly an hour with Q&A. Well, this one member was thinking maybe with people with limited time, that it might be more efficient if we limited the Q&A to 30 minutes and then do the presentation and then reopen the floor to Q&A. So if everybody's happy with the way it is, just free form, then that's fine too, because it's just one member as far as I know. But does anybody else feel that that's something we should do?
I do.
I do.
I do.
Yep, I do.
I do. The questions go on and on and on.
Yep.
I do too.
I do too.
Me too. Really? The questions are so popular.
Me three.
For who? For who?
For who? Not. I just came on for that reason. I mean, I want to see the presentation, so I just
Okay.
logged on.
All right, that's an answer. I didn't think that would be the
Hey,
answer.
there's our answer. Sounds to me. So
sometimes
is there any objection from the other side of the coin that if we now stick with a 30-minute limit to Q&A and then go to the presentation and follow it up afterwards with any unanswered questions? Does anybody strongly object to that?
Actually, I think we should limit the Q&A to submitted questions before, so that you can have them typed, go into the presentation, and then have questions from the floor.
Yeah, however that works, but I don't hear any objections to the idea of limiting to Q&A to 30 minutes and then move on. And as far as I'm concerned, if that's the will of the group, then that's what we will do.
Yay.
Hey.
You do know that you can always go to YouTube and watch it later and skip the parts you don't like.
Yeah.
You got to take the time to do it in a busy life.
Yeah.
Okay, that's gonna be it. Unless I'm overruled by our president, who's the boss.
No, that's I want to do whatever people want to do. If that's the way it is, that's the way we should do it.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay. 25 things you can try on your iPhone with iOS 14. Now, warning, he is really fast. If you use this link that appears below this heading, if you use that link in your own private time, you can not only view this again, but you can view a transcript of everything that he says. One of the features that he talks about, we're going to talk about in more depth afterwards, but this is a pretty nice video. So here we go.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Here are 25 things to try with your iPhone after installing iOS 14. MacMost is brought to you thanks to a great group of more than 750 supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could find out more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So iOS 14 brings a ton of new features to your iPhone. Here are 25 to try out right now. First, let's look at the home screen. One of the things you can do with the home screen is you can add widgets to it. To do that, tap and hold in a blank spot till everything wiggles like that. Then tap the plus button at the top. Now select Smart Stack. Smart Stack is a group of stacks and you can swipe up and down to choose which one you want. You can tap on it to select the widgets that are shown in there. So you can swipe to the left, say to delete one. You can rearrange them. And you can turn on or off Smart Rotate, which will automatically show the one that makes the most sense for that time of day. Then when you tap Done, you've got the widget there and you can swipe up or down to change the widget that's there. Now if you continue to swipe all the way to the left, you'll eventually come to the app library. Here you can see all of your apps by category and you can tap at the top and see an alphabetical list of apps. A lot of people have been asking for this for years so they can find apps alphabetically rather than having to search through other app icons. In fact, you can have apps that aren't on the home screen at all. Just tap and hold an app and then select Remove and you have the option to delete it or just simply move to App Library. So it won't be on a home screen, but it will still be installed on your iPhone and you can get to it in the app library. In Settings, you can go to Home Screen and you can choose that when you download a new app, it only appears in the app library. So it's not on the home screen unless you specifically drag it from the app library onto a home screen. In fact, you can hide entire screens of your home screen. So for instance, if I only wanted this first home screen to be shown and none of these others, I can hide them by tapping and holding in any blank spot. Then tap where the dots are at the bottom of the screen. And now you can see these check boxes and I can turn off everything except the very first screen of the home page. So now I just have one screen of icons and go right to the app library where I can find all of my apps. A new app that you get with iOS 14 is called Translate. So this is an app from Apple and it allows you to easily translate from one language to another. It also shows the text on the screen and you can have your iPhone speak it. So it's really handy when you're trying to communicate with somebody and neither of you speak the same language. You can use your iPhone as a go-between. Instead of typing, you can speak and it will translate your speech to text and then to the other language. Which way to the train station?
Quel chemin jusqu'à la gare?
You can choose from a variety of different languages and you can even add more. There's also a new translation function in Safari. So this is built into the browser. You could be at a page like this in another language, tap the reader view icon there at the top left and you can see one of the options there is to translate the page. Now you probably already know that you can send an audio message using the Messages app. So I can type here or I can tap the button to the right of the message field and speak and then the audio will be sent instead of text. Now you can have Siri do that for you too. Send an audio message to MacMost. This is a test. Now there's been a lot of talk about new privacy features, and one in particular is the ability to give an app your location, but not a precise location. This is handy for apps, say like a weather app, where it doesn't need to know exactly where you are, just your general location. To enable this, go into Settings and then go to Privacy. And then from there, go to Location Services. Now tap any app that you want and turn off Precise Location. Now that app only has a general idea of where you are, like the neighborhood, but not your exact location. A new feature that people are really excited about is the ability to have default apps different than Safari or Mail. So you can go into Settings and then look for an app that is a valid alternative. So for instance, I can go down here into the apps and look for Chrome. And if I select Chrome, you can see it says default browser app. And I can tap here and you can see I have the choice between Safari and Chrome. Now the app developer has to enable this in the app. So if your favorite app isn't listed, then that's because the developer hasn't updated their app yet. Right now you can do this for Chrome, you can do this for Firefox, you can do this for Microsoft Edge. And in Mail, you could do it for apps like Gmail and some other mail apps. The weather app has a few new features. One I like is being able to see minute-to-minute precipitation. Now, it has to be raining to do this, so you don't see it here. But here you could see there's this line there, and it shows you the precipitation over the next hour or so, minute by minute. Here's another improvement to the Messages app. You can now do an inline response. So in other words, if I want to respond to not the previous message sent, but one before it, I could tap and hold, and you could see I can select reply. And now I could reply to that particular item. Now you can see there's one reply to that particular thing instead of just piling that at the end there. You could also pin conversations to the top of the list here. Swiping to the left, select pin, and that gets stuck there at the top, so it doesn't get lost in your list of conversations. It's also a really cool new feature in FaceTime with picture in picture. So I can be in a FaceTime conversation here and I can go back to the home screen, go into another app, and I still can have the FaceTime conversation there in a picture in picture that I can move around on the screen. Now of course when you're typing you sometimes want to type emoji. So anywhere you're typing you can use the emoji key on the keyboard and go into that. But now there's a search field at the top, so I can search for an emoji just like I can on the Mac. An interesting new feature is in Settings you can go to Accessibility, and then in there you can go to Sound Recognition and turn that on, and you could have it automatically recognize sounds. So you could have it enabled for those sounds and you'll get a notification, and I guess the idea is you would get a vibration as well if one of those sounds is heard. I tried it out and it works, not perfectly, but it did detect some of these sounds. Another accessibility feature, one that we could all use, is under Touch. If you go to the bottom you'll see Back Tap. And you can have a double tap or a triple tap on the back of the iPhone. So it's like you're tapping the finger on the back of the device like that. And you can set it to do a variety of different things, even run shortcuts. This is one of those features that's only really going to work on newer iPhones. So if you don't see that option there, your iPhone's too old to support it. And these next two features also need a newer iPhone. So on my iPhone 11 here I could tap and hold in the middle and do an auto exposure, auto focus lock. But I could also drag up from the bottom here, and there's that new button that allows me to now adjust the exposure without having to mess with that little yellow sun at the right side of the yellow box there. Another new feature for newer phones is you can go into the camera settings and you have the ability to mirror the front camera and reverse how it looks when you're taking a selfie. And if you go to the FaceTime settings here, there's the option to have eye contact turned on or off. This is the feature that moves your eyes slightly in the image to make it look like you're staring at the camera rather than the image below it. So you're making more direct eye contact with the person that you're talking with. A new feature in the Photos app that is really long overdue is the ability to add captions. So while you're viewing a photo like this, you can swipe up and you can see add a caption and type something there. And this does sync in iCloud Photo Library and appears as the description for a photo in your library there. Now when you are using the camera you may notice a dot at the top of the screen. There's a green dot there saying that the camera is currently being used by an app. That green dot will be there for any app using the camera. Now, if an app is just using the microphone but not a camera, it will be an orange dot. Now, in the Voice Memos app, you have the ability now to enhance an audio recording. This is basically noise reduction. So if you recorded your voice in a noisy environment and you want to clean it up, you can go in and edit the recording and you'll see this little magic wand tool that you can turn on, and that enables noise reduction in this recording. Now if you use the magnifier, there's a whole new set of controls for it. I've got it set so the magnifier comes on when I triple press the side button, but you may have it when you use Control Center, for instance. You can see all the new controls at the bottom, including the ability to save multiple images. So you tap this button here at the bottom right, and now I could take multiple shots, and you can see it gives you a number there of multiple shots, and I could tap that and then go through the different shots. So for instance, if you're looking at a booklet that has several pages of instructions, you can take a shot of each one and then zoom in and out on those instructions without having to keep pointing your iPhone at them. And finally, there's a big new feature in the Maps app for those of us that bike. It's biking directions. So here I've got standard directions for driving, but I could switch to bike directions. Unfortunately, as I found out, this isn't available everywhere yet. So it's not available in my city, but hopefully it will roll out in other places very quickly. So this is just a handful of features to explore in iOS 14. This version of iOS definitely is very rich in the number of new features like this. Play around with these to start and then keep exploring. I publish new tutorials every weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little bell icon to get notifications for each new tutorial.
Come on. So, very interesting stuff. Lots and lots of stuff there. One of the features that I just love is using the FaceTime where it adjusts your eyes so that while you're maybe looking at the screen at the person you're talking to, it fakes them out to make them think that your eyes are looking at them at the camera. It just, I don't know how it does it, but it's supposed to work very well that way. So
does
anyway.
it work if you're napping? That's what I need.
Who was it? Someplace I saw that somebody was a grandfather or something, and he convinced his grandchildren that he had eyes in the back of his head because he had these eyes that he pasted on the back of his shaved head. I think that's the way I read it. I don't remember for sure. So the next one we have is 10 reasons to make Safari your default browser. It's not as long as the last one. So let's take a look at that one. Here we go. Here's Gary again.
Hi, this is Gary with MacMost.com. Today, let's look at some reasons why you should make Safari your default browser on your Mac. MacMost is brought to you thanks to 750 fantastic supporters. Go to MacMost.com/Patreon. There you could read more about the Patreon campaign, join us, and get exclusive content and course discounts. So you have three main browser choices on your Mac: Safari, Firefox, and Chrome. Now I have all three and I use all three, but I prefer Safari and it's the main browser I use for regular web surfing. The first reason is because Safari is built for the Mac. It's built into the operating system. It's definitely the most Mac-like of all of the browsers. And you don't need to download anything extra. It's already built into your Mac. For most users, that's reason enough to make it your default browser. There's no reason to take up space in your drive with another app or download another app or learn another ecosystem like Google's for Chrome. Another reason to stick with Safari is if you're using a MacBook. Most Mac users are using some sort of MacBook. And if you're using a MacBook, you're concerned about battery life. Safari is the best browser for conserving energy. It just uses less power so your battery will last longer. Now since Safari is from Apple, it works great across all your Apple devices. Notably in Bookmarks, your bookmarks will sync across all your different devices. So as you add bookmarks to Safari on your Mac, you'll see them on your iPhone, your iPad, your second Mac. So wherever you add bookmarks, your bookmarks stay in sync. Now Firefox and Chrome could do this as well, but for Chrome, you're going to have to log into your Google account. Which leads me to my next item, which is privacy. Safari and Firefox are clear winners in privacy over Chrome. Google's main business is selling ads, so of course they want to track you as much as possible in order to get a higher price for their ads. Now that may not be a big deal to you. After all, if you're going to see ads on a website anyway, might as well be ads that might pertain to you. But if you're concerned about privacy at all, then you probably want to steer clear of Chrome and stick with Safari or Firefox. Now, one of the things Chrome is missing is something called the reading list. Reading list is a little set of bookmarks on the left. You can quickly add articles to it and get to those articles later on. And this syncs across all your different devices. These can be made available to read offline as well. Chrome only offers this through an extension, but Safari and Firefox have this built in. Another thing that Safari and Firefox have that Chrome doesn't is Reader View. Reader View allows you to get rid of all the extra content on the page, including ads, and go right to basically a really nice version of the article that you can read. Chrome, of course, can't really get rid of this because getting rid of the ads kind of is counter to Google's business. Safari also has a built-in password manager that makes it really nice to use. It automatically prompts you when you create new passwords to store them, and you can always go to Preferences and then Passwords to go get access to any of your passwords. And this syncs between all your Apple devices through iCloud. So you have these passwords then available on your iPhone, your iPad, your other Macs. One feature that I really love about Safari is something called iCloud tabs. And this allows me to see the web pages I have open on my other devices. So I can click here on tabs and I can see what tabs I have open. Nothing right now. But I can look and see that on my MacBook Pro I've got 2 tabs open and I can jump right to those. It will also list other devices here if I had any on the same iCloud account and they had Safari tabs open. You could also customize the toolbar and add iCloud tabs right up in there, which is definitely something that I do normally so that I could easily access the tabs from one machine to another. Now, one thing that's usually counted as a plus for Chrome and a minus for Safari, I'm going to count the other way, and that's extensions. You can add extensions to Safari and Chrome and Firefox, but Safari is really restrictive on how to add extensions. You have to add them through the Mac App Store, which means they have to go through Apple and follow certain rules. Whereas with Chrome and Firefox, you can get extensions from anywhere. And this is kind of a security and also a privacy issue. And you may not expect this, but also an energy issue. One of the reasons that Chrome can eat up a lot of battery life for some people is an extension that's simply using too much power. In Safari, if you go to Preferences, you can see your extensions here and you can activate them and turn them on. And to add them, you can go to Safari Extensions, which takes you to the Mac App Store. Now, people complain about Safari Extensions like the ad blockers aren't as good as the ones on Chrome, but this is simply because of the stricter rules. And in fact, Chrome is moving towards these stricter rules as well. Now, the last item is speed. Measuring browser speed is really tough because there's so many different factors. One page might load faster on one browser. Another page might load faster on another browser. There's the speed of things going on inside the web page like interactive elements and things like that. So you can measure speed in different ways and have each of the 3 browsers come out ahead depending upon how you measure it. But after surveying tons of articles on browser speed, it seems like Safari is either at or near the top every time. So if you want to look at the big picture of overall speed of all the things that you do in a web browser, I think Safari edges out Chrome and is easily faster than Firefox. So those are my 10 reasons that Safari should be your default browser. I use Safari as my default browser, but I have Chrome and Firefox available in case I need them. Now, I know some people say, well, there's a certain page I go to that won't load in Safari. I would urge you to actually recheck that because when I ask people about this complaint, usually it's from years ago, and when they check again, they're surprised to find that the web page works fine in all browsers now. But it's really no problem if for some reason a web page restricts itself to Google Chrome, for instance. You can just have Google Chrome available in use for that one website. There's no reason to switch to Chrome for everything just because one website requires it. Now, I do want to mention one thing that people usually cite as a reason to use Firefox or Chrome over Safari, and that's developer tools. You can get these developer extensions that are really powerful and help if you're developing websites. But actually Safari has most of this built in. If you go to Safari Preferences and then to Advanced, turn on Show Develop in the menu bar, then you've got this here with lots of developer tools. You have a full inspector and you could do most of the things that you can do in other browsers as well. I find when I'm developing a website, I can do just about everything I need here using the built-in tools in Safari without having to resort to going to Firefox or Chrome and using a special extension. So my advice is use Safari as your default browser on your Mac. If you want a second browser, use Firefox because at least you have the same level of privacy controls there and features like reading list and reader view. But if you find that you really need to use Chrome for something, have Chrome available, but only use it for that one site that you could only go to with Chrome. I publish new tutorials every weekday. Hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. Then hit the little bell icon to get notifications for each new tutorial.
It's interesting that he hit that reader view and reading list with Tracy. If you're still with us, that reading list I think is going to be the answer to your problems that you mentioned about finding pages that you wanted to save. The other thing I've mentioned in the past is that reader view. Some of these news websites that you may go to, like Daily Mail or Huffington Post or whatever, they're dropping videos here and there. And if you just click reader view, boom, they're all gone and you've just got the article right there. And it's pretty neat. Okay, so next slide now. Why am I not getting, there we go. I wanted to go into just a little bit, we got time, about the new Translate application and wondered if is iOS Translate as good as Google Translate. Here's a link to a video that we're going to check out.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome back to Apps Every Day, and today we're talking about the awesome new Translate app that actually comes pre-installed with iOS 14. So later on this year when the new iPhones come out and iOS 14 is released to the public outside of betas, then you will have this on your phone, and that's pretty cool. So let's check it out. Now obviously there are a million Translate apps out there, and the one that I've always used was Google Translate, which arguably is still more feature packed than this. But if you're looking for a very simple, useful, and reliable conversational translator app, then if you're an iPhone user, this one may make sense. Here you can do things like text it out, hey, how are you? And obviously it's going to auto translate into the language. You can see here at the top, English is on the left, and then on the right I have Spanish. These are all the current available languages that you can do. More will be added down the road. Now available offline languages, this is really useful, especially if you're traveling. You may even forget that you have to buy data packages or else your phone's not going to work outside of Wi-Fi. And so before you travel or anything like that, I highly recommend making available offline languages. You can see the check mark means that I've downloaded everything. Usually language packs only take up like megabytes worth of data. So with the storage on current phones, that shouldn't really be a problem. I just recommend downloading them all because you never know what you're going to need, but at least download the important ones. And then at the bottom, you see automatic detection. This means that if I go back to this page, I don't have to auto select which language I'm actually speaking. So all I have to do is tap on the bottom microphone and it's going to auto detect which language I'm speaking and translate it to the opposite one. Hey, how are you doing today? And so it understood that obviously I spoke English and gave me the Spanish. Now if I do the opposite, no habla español. He doesn't speak Spanish. Nope, I don't. Let's try another one. Let's go into French. Bonjour, ça va? Hello, how are you? Haha, I still know my French. Je m'appelle Michael. You didn't get the most basic one. Je m'appelle Michel. All right, just had to throw a little bit more fake French accent in there. Now the nice thing is, in addition to just that, you do have a couple more features. One is this little star in the bottom left-hand corner. You can actually star that and it will save it to your favorites. And that way, if it's something that you're constantly having to re-say, or let's say you're at home, you're prepping to go on a trip and you know there's a handful of like places you need to get to, or people, or just certain phrases and questions that you don't want to forget and have to remember to say, you can save it into your favorites. That way it auto translates it and you can just immediately go up to like a person and show them that. You notice below that it also shows all of your recents. So even if you forget to save something, but you know you've said it recently, then you can actually see it there. And the last little feature in here doesn't seem to be available, at least yet, to all the languages. So right now next to that star you don't see anything. But if I go back to Spanish, we can see a little book icon. This is essentially the dictionary. So now I can tap on the dictionary and it's going to highlight the first word, and I can see the dictionary definition of that. I can tap on any of these and it's going to give me the definition of what the heck that means. So there you have it, guys. That is the super simple and hopefully a little bit more tweaks and stuff in the actual languages. That's the Translate app in iOS 14. See you guys tomorrow for another Apps Every Day.
So, let me unmute. Okay, I'm unmuted, I think. I lost my cursor. The last thing that I wanted to talk about was the translation in Safari. And let's take a quick look at that, and then we'll go to finishing up the show with more questions and a little demo that I wanted to do. So in order to use the new translate feature in Safari in iOS 14, this is not on the Mac yet, probably not till Big Sur comes. To get started, first open Safari on your phone or your iOS device, and then visit a foreign site such as Paris Match or Die Welt or Pravda, or you can go to dn.pt, which is Diario de Noticias in Portugal. And then once the foreign page is opened, you'll see a little small a, large A button that briefly will change to the translate icon. Click on that, and if you've chosen English, it'll translate that page into English. Now, obviously, as the fellow from Apps Every Day said, not all languages are currently supported. For instance, I could not translate Danish, Norwegian, Swedish, or Finnish, and I could not translate Japanese or Korean, but I did find that it did translate Chinese. So it's kind of interesting how this all works. So you can look at all this at your leisure, and I'm going to try and demonstrate this on my iPad, and I'm going to stop screen sharing for a moment. And quit Keynote, and I think screen sharing has stopped for me. So what I'd like to do is to open, where is it? I lost my app. Where is it? Here it is. There's a little application called Quick Screen. And this allows me to bring up my iPad. So I'm going to go back to share screen, if I may, and go to my iPad, which is right here. Let's enlarge that. So, and I'm using my Logitech trackpad. So you can see that's what the icon looks like on the Logitech keyboard and stuff. But let's go to Safari, and let's open up that Portuguese one, dn.pt, Diario de Noticias. So here's Diario de Noticias. And if I tap the little A's there, notice it says on the drop down, translate to English. I tap that, and there we are, a Portuguese newspaper in English. Now that's from Portuguese. Let us go to Paris Match. Okay, this is the Paris Match. It faked me out there for a second because I thought that it was an American thing there. So I tap again, the small little AA. I don't know if you can see my cursor or not. Are you able to?
Yes, yeah.
Okay, so right there, I'll tap that. It says translate to English. And there it is, all in English now. And the last one I'm going to demonstrate for you is Pravda.ru. No wonder it can't open it. It's not spelled that way. Pravda.ru for Russia.
Still not.
Still got it wrong. Boy, I'm really doing good today, aren't I?
Next week's lesson is on spelling.
Yes, or better yet, typing. So here we are, and we're in a Russian newspaper. Here's an article there. So I click translate to English. Is there a possible revolution in Russia after Kazakhstan? So here it all is. It's just really, really neat. Now, obviously, Chrome does a better job than this because they have more languages. But I was very pleased to see that I don't have to leave Safari to be able to go to a translation function in the Mac. So I'm very pleased with that. Now on your iPhone, you can use that translator to speak as well. I have a house cleaner and she's a Mexican gal. Her English is perfect, but I use her kind of as a tutor. And so I speak to her sometimes in my broken Spanish, O vista and dos semanas próximo or whatever, and it'll translate that out into English. I gave her a very complicated sentence yesterday, like I went shopping last Thursday for a new purse but couldn't find it. So I think next month I might look on the third Wednesday of that month to buy that new purse. And I had her say that in Spanish and it translated it out perfectly on my phone. So when you're traveling, if we ever get to travel again, and you're in another country and you need to say, where's the National Museum, please? Or how do I get to the Louvre? You'll get perfect directions and they will be able to speak back to you in French and it will translate into English. And I think that's worth the price of admission. So anyway, that is all the presentation I have. And per the new rule, we can go back to Q&A or any discussion that you want to have. Yeah.
Rick, is there a way to get to Reader's View on the Mac in Safari?
Oh yeah, absolutely. If I can share screen again, I'll do that. So sharing screen again. Maybe I better not do that until I bring up Safari. So bringing up Safari and going to share screen. I'm getting better at this, guys. It used to be really weird. So let's go to, who's got lots of ads? I know, the Daily Mail. that one's loaded with ads. So here's, let's get something that's not controversial. So here's a bunch of stuff with a bunch of ads and junk that appears all over the page. So what I can do now is go up here, right here, and click Reader View. And there it is, just the article without any of the extraneous crud that they throw in. Then to go back, I just click that again, and away I go. Let's go to Huffington Post. That's another one where they have a lot of ads. Go to Huffington. Here's the Huffington Post. And sometimes if you select an article, you see this little thing down here. If I have I want to find something that's not political. Is there ever anything not political? Here's Disney lays off 28,000. I guess that's pretty sad. But they throw these little videos down there. Watch what happens when I go to Reader View. Reader View, I just get the article and I don't have to worry about that. And finally, which we've done this one before, Wall Street Journal. Wall Street Journal. And I don't subscribe to that. So we'll go to Wall Street Journal, and they're usually behind a paywall. So let's go to their Disney article. And it says, if I want to see this, I have to subscribe. But let's see, this usually works, but not always. Hit the Reader View. No, it did not. On many of the stories, it will work. Let's see if it works. No, they've learned. It used to be that I could beat their ads by clicking Reader View. Read the full story. Let's see, last chance here. No, they got us. Okay, quitting Safari and screen sharing is stopped. So yeah, it did not work, but it often does work, and it's easily accessed. So I hope that answers your question. So what else do we have?
Go ahead. You got to unmute, Janet.
Pardon me?
Press you. No,
Janet.
Janet.
Follow up on before. Now, if you don't keep folders of things that belong together, how do you keep track of, say, tech help you're getting from, I must have 50 folders from different apps, and the tech help emails that I've gotten from them over the years to remind me of something.
Well, let me go back to sharing the screen again, and maybe it's a matter of how you organize. I think we covered this once before, that what I do with my favorites is that I have, for instance,
Rick, I think she's talking about email.
My mail.
Oh yeah, with mail. Yeah, I don't do that. As I say, once I read a mail, generally, unless it's absolutely earth-shattering, I delete it.
Well, I've had a conversation with Zoom tech help for months. They're just horrible, but I need to keep them all so I can refer to what they said sometime.
Well, maybe you might want to use notes.
Oh, I use what's it called? Evernote.
Yeah, drag it into Evernote or into the Apple Notes application. Create a folder in Evernote or Notes or FS Notes or Microsoft Notes. They're all available. Evernote does charge, and so does FS Notes, but the others, Apple Notes is free, included with your software. Just copy the text and paste it in.
I know, but it's just easier to throw them in a folder and.
Yeah. Well, I suppose you could, does anybody here use the archive feature in Mail? I don't use it.
Well, tell us about it.
Nobody archives? Nobody saves mail? Epley, you have to be saving mail. I know you do. No? You're muted.
I have folders in my Yahoo Mail that I put stuff in, like all my bill confirmations. I have a folder and I put them all in there. And I have,
Yahoo?
yeah.
You know, Yahoo is the most compromised service that there is.
Okay.
Yeah, it's, I would think twice before I'd put anything financial in Yahoo.
I mean, I have
It's AT&T now.
desktop.
I use Yahoo too, and I know it's vulnerable, but I still really like it. And I like those folders. I don't put anything financial in them, but that's how I save my emails. I can't do that. I can't figure out how to do that on Gmail.
Okay.
Gmail has what's called labels. They aren't really folders. So an email can be labeled several different things and they will appear in what appears to be several different folders, but they're really labels.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Al Medvin, you got a hand up.
Yeah, I was wondering if you're recommending going to OS 14.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing wrong with it. It's already been bug fixed once already.
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
it's good. It works well.
Okay. Does it have features, security better than 13?
Security for what? So iOS is pretty damn secure. I mean, you can't get anything installed on iOS unless you get it from the App Store. So you're not going to get any malware or anything.
Okay.
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think you'll be happy with it, Al.
Okay. Thank you.
Sure. So anything else? Anybody else got any pearls of wisdom they want to share? Yeah, Lee, go ahead.
I have an experience to relate. We got a new modem from Comcast yesterday, and I found that I could no longer use my brother printer. So I went into the procedure for reattaching, and it wouldn't do it. And I just worked for hours on it. It just wouldn't do it. I was up until 1 o'clock. Well, during the hours I did get to sleep, I woke up briefly and said, you know, you didn't unplug it. I turned it off and on a number of times with the power switch, but I
didn't get a new IP address. So you're using your modem has a router in it, multiple Ethernet plugs on the back. You're plugging your printer into the modem, right?
No, it's Wi-Fi.
It's Wi-Fi printer? That's not a good idea. Is your printer in the same room as the modem?
No.
Okay.
It's working again. All I did, as I say, during the night, it occurred to me I had not unplugged it. And this morning I unplugged it, plugged it back in, and it synced up instantly.
Yeah. Hey, John, I'm curious why you think it's a bad idea to use a printer on Wi-Fi.
People call me all the time. It's like, if the printer is in the same room, you need to, and it has an Ethernet cable or a USB cable, plug it in.
Well, I've got two printers. I have a Brother Color Laser and I have an Epson inkjet. I don't use
but you're
the
a
Epson
techie
very
guy.
much.
It's like Wi-Fi, it's always better to hardwire than Wi-Fi. It's faster, more reliable. You don't have to deal with passwords or all this stuff.
Well,
it just
yeah,
works.
that's true. But it's so nice when I'm out here in our great room watching TV and looking at my iPad and I see something and I say, yeah, I think I want to print that. And I just give it a print command and say which printer I want it to go to. And it just goes. And, you know, I find it terribly convenient.
Sometimes it's very hard to get Wi-Fi printers to connect to your network. It's really convoluted. You have to go into the network, the little touch buttons and go through the menus and type in the passwords.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true.
That's a pain.
On my color laser, it was an exercise, but once done, it's done.
It's done, and mine has worked that way for many years.
Yeah. So, okay, well, there's 2 points of view.
Well, anyway, the point was that turning it on and off with the power switch didn't do it, but unplugging it did.
Yeah. Interesting.
Unplugging the printer from the wall?
Yes, pulling the plug, the AC power plug on the printer.
Yeah, because when you turn it off, it really just went to sleep. It didn't. What happens is you needed a new IP address. So probably when you got a modem, they changed the configuration in there. So it's not uncommon to have problems when you change stuff. Why'd you get a new modem?
The other one's acting up, and by getting the new one, we changed from 50 megabytes to 500.
Faster, as it was old. Yeah.
Quick question.
Sure.
When did Apple change how you turn the phone off on the, I use an iPhone 11 now. And all of a sudden I decided I needed to turn my phone off. I couldn't get it off. And then I looked it up and I know how to turn it off now, but I was wondering when they changed that.
They changed all those button configurations when they did away with the home button. So there's different things. There's no home button to push anymore.
Right.
So all that stuff changed.
But I thought I was turning the phone off just by pressing the button on the right side of the phone.
It was just going to sleep, right?
I thought, well, then it would
on my 10R, if I press the button on the right side and hold it.
Yeah, usually it's press and hold.
If
I did that
hold
too, but it didn't seem like it
will
wanted to
ask
go
me
off.
if I want to power down. Oh, I guess I gotta sign in first.
Well, what I found was, because I looked it up on Google, thank you, John, and it said you want to click the button on the right and then the one on the left, and it goes off, and sure enough, it worked.
They changed it. Yeah, you got to push two buttons instead of press and hold one.
Exactly.
Yeah, they changed it.
I just was curious because it told me how long it's been since I turned my phone off. It's been a while.
Not a bad idea to do it once in a while.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, it's a good idea to shut down and restart from time for everything.
The basic shutdown for it is the up button, the down button, and the power button.
Right.
I bet you most people never turn their phone off.
Yeah,
you hadn't turned it off since you got it. Yeah, and you did that by pressing and holding, or multiple buttons.
I pressed and held the up volume and the power and the side
Two buttons. Yeah.
So I slide it to off, and then to start it again, I'll hold the right hand button.
It's not usually very often that you need to restart the phone.
No. It's a pretty reliable little machine, I'll tell you.
Yeah. Not as common that you need to restart the computer is much more common.
Has anybody ordered an iWatch 6? No, nobody yet. Oh, Don Nelson's got one already. Good for him. I should have known.
Tell us, Don, what's it like?
Touch the space bar, Don.
I tried that and it didn't work earlier. So anyway, I had a Series 4 before this, and there's not really a whole lot of difference. The biggest difference is it never goes completely dark.
Yeah, that is an impressive thing. I hate to have to keep flipping my wrist.
And also I noticed that it seems to execute things a little faster than the 4 did. But other than that, pardon?
I was going to ask if you used the Apple trade-in program.
This time around, I did not. So here's my old one. So I'm not sure what I'm going to do with it yet. So, yeah, I got it Friday, and so far I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, that's good.
But with an Apple Watch, don't you have to, oh shoot, don't you have to have two of them anyway to get 24 hours use?
You know, I
two of them because of the battery to make it last all day. No, I don't think so.
Yeah.
Well,
the new one's supposed to have a better battery, and it has sleep functions, right, Don?
It does, but I can't really attest to the better battery right now, because sometimes it seems to go pretty quick. But one thing I have found is, like, I carry around a little portable charger with me, and I put it on there at work this morning for like 45 minutes, and that added like 40% to the power.
Wow.
So
that's good.
So I think what they're telling people to do, if you want to use the sleep functions, is just either charge it for a couple hours after you get up in the morning, or charge it for a couple hours before you go to bed at night. That way you can wear the watch through the night and it'll track your sleep.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm very spoiled by having a Fitbit that goes 5 days or so.
Wow.
My wife had one of those though, and that thing was completely unreliable. I mean, it would forget what time it was, and it wouldn't change. One of them we ended up shipping in twice and getting it replaced, and she finally just gave up.
Well, I understand that Apple, with the new watch and the trade-in, doesn't want your old watch bands.
They never did.
And okay. And it doesn't want your charger, the little magnetic charger, which now would accommodate your having one in your office. So you could use that. The thing that was confusing that I was trying to read about were all the different kinds of bands. And I think if I were to order one of these, that I'd probably just order what came with this is the band that has a loop on it. And then I have another band that I got from Amazon, metal band. What do they call it?
Well, supposedly the bands now, you're supposed to measure your wrist, and you download something, print it, and cut it out, and then it don't fit right.
For that kind of a band.
Yeah, right.
And I understand they're all too big.
They have some, they have some now that are one piece. They stretch. Right. And that's the ones you're supposed to measure your wrist for. But yeah, when I traded in my first Apple Watch 3 years ago, they didn't want the band. So I still have a stainless steel Milanese loop band, but it looks kind of funny with a space gray watch.
Well, I have a Milanese band that I bought from Amazon, and it is space gray. And it goes really well on this watch. So if I get a new one of these days, then I'll be able to use it. I checked, and they said that they're compatible, all the old bands. So
they are compatible in the old bands. Also, the prices have come down on that band quite a bit.
I only paid $9 for mine on Amazon.
They didn't come down that low. I think they were 150 and they're 150 and now they're 100.
Yeah, well, this one's beautiful, and I expected it was going to fall apart, but I've worn that thing for a year and a half, and it's in the top drawer right now because I switch off bands. But I was very pleased with it, very pleased. $9, I couldn't believe it.
I used to have one of those, and the only problem that is sometimes it would come loose when I was watching football games or Grand Prix races. I tend to get a little excited.
Yeah, okay.
Don't watch football games.
Football's back, baby. No fans. That's weird. They turn up the sound like sitcoms on TV. I hate that. They score a touchdown. Yay! You look in the stands, there's nobody there.
About the NBA.
I was always appreciated the fact that I never watch football. I'm not a football fan. So
Well,
the
the
only
virtual
problem is
people
that the
would be
honeydew
okay.
list is too long.
A few of the games, some places they allow some people, like 5,000 people in a 50,000 seat stadium, but not many of them.
I gotta run. I gotta make a phone call before 4:30. So
Yeah.
see you next week.
Very good. Is next week a class, one of our classes?
Next week we should remind everybody, and we'll get it. You'll get it in the email next Sunday. We're starting the classes with Mike Matthews, and that'll be a 2-hour class, and it will start at the regular time, and it will be on iOS 14.
So I get a week off. Good.
And I guess what we'll do, Ann said last week, is we won't have Q&A to start. We're going to start with the class, and we'll record the meeting. And at the end, his meetings are scheduled 2 hours. So when he's done, we'll probably stop the recording and then let people hang around and have Q&A after. I guess, is that we can play it on the fly.
Sounds reasonable to me.
Yeah, every other week we're going to have a class. First two classes will be iOS 14 next week, and then 2 weeks after that will be iPad OS 14.
Hey, Ann Lagash, I like your video, your picture there.
Thank you. And then can
Okay.
we go to the BBS to see the class again? Is that what we can do?
I haven't determined how we're going to do that. It will be on YouTube, but it won't be public. So it will be in the email on Sunday night. For the previous week's class, we'll have the link. So you'll get it in there. And it will be on the BBS, and we'll have to archive them somehow because there's going to be 5, and then later there'll probably be more. We'll have to put them somewhere so it's easy to find after the first week. So I'll have to work that out. It has to be private. We can't go give them away to everybody. So we'll work that out.
Very good.
Yet to be determined.
Because some of us see it more
I'll
than
see you next week, but won't be speaking to you. We'll be all enjoying Mike Matthews' presentation. If none of you has ever seen Mike Matthews, I can assure you he is very good. And I'm looking forward to it, honestly. Talk to you next week.
Bye.
In 2 weeks.
Thank you, Rick.
Well,
you're
bye, everybody.
See you later.